How are you guys doing? As promised, I was gonna make another video. Um, this one is about following distance. More specifically, stuff that we hate that people in cars do that they don't seem to understand. Um, Anybody that's been driving for a while has seen it. Even when you're driving your car, people still do it, but it's more of an issue in a truck. And the issue I want to talk about is people wanting to cut us off while we're driving, because I don't think people thoroughly understand the dangers of what's happening, and what they're doing. So I went ahead and did a little bit of math and stuff in the truck, made some notes and whatnot to go through while making this video, just to show that there was a little bit of effort put behind this. This isn't just ranting, because it's not a rant. This is more of an informational kind of video. Share with your family and friends, whomever, other drivers out there, because truck drivers even cut each other off, and that gets to me more than the person driving a car, because you're driving the same vehicle I drive, so you should understand a lot more than the person driving a car what could happen as a result of you doing something like cutting me off or cutting each other off while driving. So just throwing on a little facts, and I did some visual illustrations as well to help people kind of understand on the grand scheme of things. All right, so just to, this is all going to be set in a normal everyday environment. Your brakes are working fine. The pavement's dry. You're on flat level ground, like the most optimal driving conditions. All these are set in that. This doesn't include driving in snow, rain, mountains, any of that. This is like driving down the street. All right. So understand this. Truck stops in about 7 seconds, going 60 miles an hour, and it'll travel about 520 feet from the time you apply the brakes fully, like all the way in the brakes, to the time you actually stop. Versus a car, it takes a car 240 feet at 60 mile an hour to stop. Okay, so here's a visual representation of that. And 1 inch equals 100 feet. I even used my official ruler that the company gives to kind of map this out. So this is a car. All right, that's 240 feet. And this is a truck for Joe Blow Trucking LLC. It's got a trailer tails open and everything to save fuel and whatnot, because we care about fuel mileage. That's 520 feet. As you can see, it's more than double the distance that it takes a car to stop. So that being said, we want to maintain about a 7 second following distance. That's what ROEHL preaches, and I back it, because 7 seconds, our trucks are tuned at 65 miles an hour. So I've noticed that at 7 seconds, you're going to be about 735 to 770 feet behind whoever's in front of you going 65 miles an hour. All right, because you're basically traveling at about 105 to 110 feet per second. Now keep in mind, these are the weights of the vehicles. All right, about 2,000 pounds to 4,500 pounds for a car. And a semi truck is 65,000 to 80,000 pounds, depending on the load, how much fuel you're carrying, etc., etc. This is the normal cutoff distance that I've noticed people want to do when they want to cut off a truck. All right, this is the car, the truck. Don't make fun of my truck drawing. I'm not an artist. I just know my stuff. I've noticed our trucks have a radar in it that tell us exactly how far ahead a car cuts us off. A car will cut us off typically between 75 feet to 100 feet. That's how that's how far it is between a car and a truck by the time they decide it's okay to come back over. So, this is a representation that the space cars give us to stop when they cut us off versus how much space it actually needs. You can see that huge amount of space right there. They're basically leaving us 420 feet or excuse me, they're taking away 420 feet needed to stop. They expect us to do all of this in that amount of distance. And let that sink in. There's no way you're going to stop an 80,000 pound vehicle that should take 520 feet to stop. You're not going to stop that and condense it down to 100 feet. It's just not going to happen. Even with the newer trucks, my truck has disc brakes in it, just like a car does. The air powered disc brakes, so it's more effective than the old brakes that the trucks have, but it's still not going to stop the truck in that amount of distance. It's still going to take the same amount of distance. All right. Another thing cars like to do, I've noticed, is cut us off. They want to do this thing where they want to get to the exit before us. So what they'll do is while we're in the slow lane, they will get in the passing lane and they will speed up to, let's say, 70, 75 miles an hour to get around us so they can cut back over with like 200 feet before the exit, and then they'll slam on the brake to want to get off. So think about that. Let's just say something happens in that exit that they don't see because they're not seeing around a 73-foot vehicle. So they only know their exit's coming up, but they're not really thinking about the fact that they can't fully see around us. Let's just say that exit's backed up and they speed up, hop around us, and realize they can't get off, but by that time they've already slammed on their brakes. If you look at it, we're traveling 70 miles an hour, normal speed on the interstate. They'll cut across us to get to the off ramp, but they can't. And they will cut us off and they'll go from 75 to 15 miles per hour. All right. Now, using basic math and vectors, all right, you're going to go from 75 down to 15. And we're already going 70 miles an hour. That's the impact that's going to happen on the interstate. You're driving 15, you realize you can't get off, so you're still in the slow lane. You just cut us off. We're doing 70. We're going to hit you at that speed. You're doing 15 still, we're doing 70. That is equivalent to if your car is just sitting still and we're going 55 miles an hour, because if you know anything about vectors, you have to subtract those speeds because you're going in the same direction. So you have to subtract the slower speed from the larger speed, and that'll give you basically what your actual speed is for the accident. So assuming that's held correctly and all things are consistent, that would be the same as hitting that car going 55 miles an hour. It takes a truck 6 seconds at 55 miles an hour to stop and will travel approximately 512 feet. Imagine being in your car and you're getting hit by a truck and you have to travel for another 512 feet while getting pushed by a truck. That's basically what you're doing whenever you cut us off. Let's talk about head on collisions, because we're not always going to be on the interstate. You're not always going to have a head on the interstate, but we do back roads and highways and stuff. And those can be usually 2 lane roads and you're passing other cars. It's 2 lane roads, 1 lane in each direction, and there's usually no shoulder, so there's nowhere to go. It's either be off the road into a field or you're hitting another vehicle. People love to text and drive. Truck drivers do it too, but especially people in cars. They love to text and drive, and you can see everything while you're sitting up high. So you're looking down and you just watch everybody just do the craziest things in the world, and they're completely oblivious to what they're doing. They just are on their phones, they hop in front of you, they slam on the brakes, or while they're driving, you see them on their phone, they start driving from 1 lane to the next, they speed up, they slow down, their driving is very inconsistent. But we're going to talk about being on the back road at this point. Let's say we're going 55 miles an hour in Joe Blow Trucking LLC, and the vehicle is going 55. That's assuming you're actually obeying the speed limit, which most of the time on back roads, most people aren't. They're probably doing 65, 70, even though the speed limit's 55. But we're just going to pretend everybody's doing the speed limit. You would add those two speeds together because you're closing that distance between the two vehicles. So by adding those two speeds together, you're traveling 110 miles an hour. 110 miles an hour worth of closure. That's how fast the vehicles are approaching each other. That's equivalent to your vehicle sitting still My truck going 110 miles an hour. I didn't even sit and try to do the math on that. Imagine getting hit by a semi truck going 110 miles an hour. That's fully loaded. You already know the outcomes are going to be disastrous. All right. Just to put another thing into scale, a common round shot by a tank, because you guys know I'm prior military, a common round or shell shot by a tank is a 203, 203 millimeters, which is about 8-inch shell. Okay? And doing a little bit of math, 1 pound equals 0.453 kilograms. Let's see where I went to that, because I know I did it somewhere in there. Where did I get the 100 pounds from? Where did I get 100 from? I should have probably notated where I got the 100 from, because I completely forgot to do that, and now I'm drawing a blank on it. Anyway, a round weighs, that's where I got it from. A round weighs about 100 kilograms. Do simple math. One shell or round, whatever you want to call it, weighs approximately 220.75 pounds, kilograms to pounds. There you go. A truck weighs 80,000 pounds, going 55 miles an hour. That's 4.4 million of whatever that amount of force is. In order to achieve that same force from a 203 round or 8-inch shell from a tank, it has to be traveling at 19,932.049 miles per hour to give you the same force as if you got hit by a truck going 55 miles an hour and we're at the grossed out limit of 80,000 pounds. Doing a little bit more math, some basic high school level um, physics right here, just understanding the bridges and how it works to convert from miles per hour to feet per second to et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, come down to this. In order for these numbers to match, basically a truck, excuse me, a shell from a tank would have to be traveling at 5.5366 miles per second to, and that's the exit speed that it should have, that's the speed it should have to hit the car at or hit you or whatever it is you want to talk about. In this case, we're talking about a car. If the shell hits the car at 5.536 miles per second, that would be the equivalent force of getting hit by a truck at 80,000 pounds going 55 miles an hour. In essence, imagine getting hit by a 203 millimeter 8-inch tank round at 5.536 miles per second. A tank shoots a round at about 1 mile per second. So basically, if you were to get hit by a round from a tank, your vehicle would get hit from a round from a tank, it is less force getting hit from that than if you got hit by a semi truck doing 55 miles an hour. Think about that. You just got shot by an army tank, and it's still doing less force, excuse me, less damage than what would happen if you get hit by a truck. Most people can't fathom or imagine getting hit or shot by a tank. Take it to the next level. People are willing to throw themselves in front of a truck and get hit by a force that's more than 5 times greater than that force of getting shot by a tank. They don't think about it. They're so busy in their own lives, their own world, their own whatever. They're in such a rush to get to wherever they're going. It's the worst whenever you're driving down the road and somebody cuts you off and slams on the brakes or something completely unsafe, and you're looking down into the car and you see two or three. Are they playing corn on the speakers in here? For all you guys that hear the song in the background and can't remember the name of the song is Freak on a Leash by Corn. You'll thank me. Um, But like I was saying, back on topic, it sucks when somebody does that, like in a minivan or whatever, and they cut you off, and you look down, and it's two or three car seats in the back. These kids have no choice. And let's say the accident were to happen, they're the first ones to go, and they didn't even have a say so in the incident. They're just there along for the ride while their parents or whoever is guarding them, their guardian at the time, is oblivious to what's going on and they're in their own world. So this video is supposed to be an informational public service announcement of watch what you're doing, people. Don't cut trucks off. Show some show some respect and yeah, show some respect for the truck drivers. Show some respect for just everybody on the road, not just truck drivers. Show each other respect. Don't cut each other off. Because even though it's not in the same magnitude, nobody wants to get hit by a car at any speed, in any kind of condition. Now, also another thing to remember is that this video was merely just talking about, this video is merely just talking about everything in perfect conditions. People will still do this kind of stuff in the snow. People will still do this kind of stuff in the rain. People do this kind of stuff in less than perfect conditions. Watch yourselves out there and drive safe. That's all I can really say. Hopefully, I'll get some mathematician who will watch this video and confirm all these numbers. It's been forever since I've tried to do any kind of calculations with anything beyond figuring out weights and fuel and whatnot. But yeah, I'd like to think I'm pretty good at math still. So, yeah, as always, like, comment, subscribe, shoot me emails. I'll do my best to get back to them and try to do better at making more videos. As y'all can see in my last one, like I said, they want me to do it on my own personal time, not on company time. So right now I'm currently on my 10-hour break uh, inside of a subway in LaGrange, Georgia, in the sitting area, just sitting here chilling, making this video for you guys. Because just because I can't make it in the truck while moving doesn't mean I shouldn't make them at all. Because you guys still look forward to good information. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day, and be safe.